you wonder how people can travel on a budget? Wish you could do the same? Hi, this is Angelina Allsop of thetravelingauthor.com, where books plus travel equals happiness. For the best book recommendations, travel and writing tips, be sure to subscribe and hit that bell to be notified when I post a new video every Wednesday. If you are wondering how people can stay on budget when they travel, or just budget travel in general, do not fear, I will help you out. I will show you how I do it, how I'm able to travel often throughout the year and check out lots and lots of cool places. So just stay tuned to the end and I'll give you some amazing tips on how to save money while you travel. Tip number 1, go back and watch my other videos. Seriously. I go over how I find all of my cheap flights, how I find the cheap hotels, and those are really the two biggest chunks of your money that you're going to be spending. So go back through, watch the previous, well, there's 3 videos, but watch those 2 for sure. The other one is an amazing video on how to make the planning of your vacation really smooth, and I highly recommend that one as well. But for sure, watch the video on cheap flights and cheap hotels. Step number 2, do what the locals do. This one seems very like, well, duh, of course, that will save you money, but for real, a lot of people don't do that while they travel. When they're on vacation, they're like, oh, I'm on vacation, I can do whatever, I never do this. And that's fine. If you have the money, if you have the time, you have the whatever to do that. But a lot of people will complain to me that traveling is super expensive. And though it can be expensive for sure, it doesn't have to be. It really doesn't have to be, especially if you act the way the locals act. So if you stay in the areas where they stay, if you, I recommend maybe spending a little bit more money on the place that you stay and getting something like an Airbnb where you have a kitchen and a fridge and stuff like that. Cook for yourself. I understand when you're on vacation you don't want to cook, that's fine, but maybe limit it to eating out one meal as opposed to all 3 meals. That makes actually a really huge difference. So, I mean, what do most people eat for breakfast? You don't have to have a whole like cooked thing. You can get cereal and milk for the kids. You can get fruit for yourself. My mother-in-law's favorite things to have in France were just these, it's like a baguette and cheese and ham, and so easy to make, but she loved it. There was like a market right down the street from them, and while she was getting ready, my father-in-law would go out and get some fresh fruit and some bread, baguette, and then ham and cheese, and they would have it really fresh, just baked that morning, fruit just picked that morning, and delicious, amazing kind of French breakfast. So yeah, like, do more what the locals do. Ask if you don't know. One of the tips I had in my planning video that I recommended was ask the waiters. So like your first night, let's just say like your first night's a wash, go out to eat, ask the waiter, where do you guys shop? Is there a local grocery store? Use Google Maps, and find a local grocery store, place to shop. You can get like snacks and stuff for throughout the day so that you're not snacking in like expensive places. It makes a big difference. So there's the hotels, there's flights that are your big spenders, and then there's food. At least for me, it's food. Every time you go to the restaurant, you're going to be tipping, maybe even a little bit, but there's price. Okay, even if you don't write a tip in a place, you go to a place where there's no tip, it's built into the price, the cost of eating out. So even if you don't elect to put the tip, it's built into the price. So you're going to be spending that money if you're eating out for every meal. But also for the do as the locals do, that also means like I kind of briefly mentioned it, stay where they stay. There's a lot of really cool restaurants and attractions and just amazing places that you can see that really the locals know about. So watch those YouTube videos on like expats going to wherever you're going to stay and see what they do on a daily basis. Tip number 3, check out italki. So italki.com is this incredible website for language learning. So it's in there they have a community of people all wanting to learn a new language. Now, let's say that's not your goal. That's fine. A lot of people want to learn English. So take advantage. Like ask, someone, if you're trying to go to Germany, talk to the German local and that's trying to learn English and just say, because normally what it is you go in this community, you pick like language you're trying to practice, someone who's native speaking, and then you pick like, so I was trying to learn German, right? So I put in the filter, learning German. I'm a 1 out of 5 stars, is like, I was just a beginner at the time. So I wanted to talk to someone who knew a good amount of English, that wanted to practice with me, that was willing to practice and then could give me tips and correct me in English, so that because I was brand new, right? I knew like 2 sentences of German. So you could do that. Find someone who speaks really good English already but just wants to practice with a local. Normally you would split the time, like half time where you're speaking in German so you can practice German, and half speaking in English so they can do English. And you just say, hey, I'm willing to speak with you the whole time in English. Just tell me about your country. I'm going to this place. Where do you recommend? It's amazing. People will be so excited to tell you. These are real Germans that live in Germany, that are native to the area. They can tell you what they do to spend money, what they do to avoid the crowds. Or to spend money, to save money, where they eat out that's really, really good but not that expensive. You can find all of those tips using italki.com. So that kind of ties in with tip number 2 of do what the locals do, but in like a really kind of unique way that a lot of people don't know about. italki.com, check it out. Tip number 4, find the cheaper places to eat. So a lot of this is focusing on food, and I understand. I'll move on to other stuff, but this is worth noting. So, for example, in Rome, there'd be all these cafes everywhere, right? And they'd ask you if you want to sit outside or whatnot. So we'd sit outside, and they would bring the cafe to us. A little bit unbeknownst to us, this is an extra charge. So if you sit down and are served, they put on a little extra charge. It's basically the tip is built into the price of this cafe that is sitting down. Or you could stand at the bar in the inside, have a cafe, sip it real quick, and then be on your way. Well, there's things like that. I mean, there's things like that in America as well, where like there's just a cheaper, faster version of food that's less expensive but still very good. Think of food trucks. Well, they have that in other places as well. Look for things like that. Food trucks, local markets where they have like ready-made food, but it's kind of like you just stop kind of at a window. Seattle has like a lot of spots like that where you just kind of walk up, order, and then you can either sit down in their like little kind of general seating area, or you can walk around with it. There's places like that all over. They're not fast food. You know, it's not like McDonald's or whatever, but it's almost as fast, and it's way better. So look for stuff like that. If you are going to eat out for every meal, you want to kind of use some of those like the carts, the food trucky type things to kind of save you a little bit of money. Tip number 5, bundle when you can. So for events like museums, I've talked about this in a previous video with the planning. Museums will sometimes bundle with each other and do like a city museum pass, especially if you're going to a big tourist place. Like France has one, Rome has one, I'm pretty sure Rome has one. For sure France has one, Paris has like a city pass where you can go to all these cool museums, and on there they list ones that I didn't even know about. So they have huge ones like the Louvre, but they also had other ones that I had not heard of but were really cool. So when you bundle, sometimes you learn about some things, but either way, it's a huge deal. If you like things like these events that you're going to and you want to see a lot of them, look for things like that. Bundle when you can. It's a great deal. Now, in a previous video, I want you to check it out. It's, you know, how to plan a great vacation, tips on planning real smooth vacation. You don't want to overdo it. So sometimes it's really tempting when you do like these bundles to feel like you really need to do all of them. I don't want you to fall into that trap because you can just get burnt out. You can get like run down or whatever. But if you have enough time, if you're gonna check out a few of these spots anyways, if that's just hands down non-negotiable, go ahead and look for those deals. They tend to be really, really great. If you have a pretty solid plan that you know you're gonna stick to, and admittedly I'm not the best with sticking to my plans, but if you are, you might want to consider buying some of the stuff ahead of time. So things like train tickets, we just bought when we were like, usually when we're there, because we're just so like spazzes and we're like, we want to go here, and we just kind of do it. We're a little bit more spontaneous, but it does cost us some money. It does. So if you can plan a little bit ahead and buy those like train tickets or plane tickets at least a few weeks ahead, and by plane tickets I mean from like within country. So the in-country flights, you can be a little bit more last minute, a little bit more closer to, actually it tends to be better for you if you do it a little closer, like within a month to 2 weeks before your trip. Buy those. That tends to be the best time. Not talking about like, let's say you're doing this from like Rome to France, buy that Rome to France ticket a little bit closer, but getting from the States to Rome, you want to buy that usually 1 to 3 months ahead of time, minimum. You know, I'll find some deals sometimes. Let's say like, so I have an Amsterdam trip coming up in May. Right now it's October. I'll start looking for that end of December, just because I know it goes on deals, or the day after Thanksgiving almost always has deals. So I'll check and buy those like several months ahead of time if I can find an awesome deal. But typically 1 to 3 months is enough time for going out of the country, and within like a month, let's say 45 to like 23 days tends to be a really good time to find in-state flights. Tip number 7 is go a little outside of the touristy spots if you can. If you have a must-see, go see the must-see. Do your vacation your way, but take a look around just outside of those tourist spots. They tend to be really amazing. They're a lot cheaper. They're typically where like the locals go, like our previous tips. So all the restaurants and stuff will be way cheaper. Even let's say you go in a tourist spot, but then you want to eat. If you eat in that little square around that, it's gonna be way more expensive than just walking a half mile away and finding a restaurant there. So yeah, that final tip, just kind of stay a little bit away from the touristy spots when you're ready to buy something. All right, now you have my plan for staying on budget while traveling. I hope that you liked it. Be sure to check out my videos on how to find cheap flights and how to find cheap hotels. Those are a must watch. It will really save you a ton of money while you're traveling. Also, I've made a free forecast tool. So it's a weather forecasting tool for your trip. So if you head to thetravelingauthor.com and you hit free stuff, you scroll down and it's free forecast tool. Just select that, put in the place that you want to go to, and then pick your metrics, of course, Fahrenheit or Celsius or scientific. I don't know who uses that actually, but I included it just in case. And then find that information on your trip coming up. And then also, I've included historical information. So if it says it's going to be sunny coming up on your trip, but historically it's rained that whole week the last 2 years, be prepared, plan for rain just in case. Don't forget to like and subscribe. That's how I find out what videos you guys like. Be sure to comment below. Let me know what your travel pain points are with traveling. I really want to know. That's how I know which videos to make more of, and find out just what you guys want to know. What do you want to know about my travels? What questions do you have about me? So like, subscribe, comment below, but also check out the description. I have a link with the blog post for this video. as well as a lot of other good goodies, things that we've talked about here. So just check that out below. Love you guys. I'm so happy that you guys are here watching this with me. Have a wonderful week. I'll see you next week and talk to you then. Bye.